You could learn that the Indian goddess Kali is not a stupid ancient superstition, but a biological feminine metaphor for time. Time as the changing aspect of nature that brings life or death. Why does she have 8 arms like a spider? Because spiders spin webs, or fiber, or fibrin. And Kali, myrrh, another name for the mineral potassium chloride or Gemini, governs your body's fibers, fibrin, and tissues. For thick blood or embolus or embolism results from a lack of this Kali myrrh potassium chloride salt. For the spinning process stops, our threads thicken, tangle, and the parts feel enlarged, congested, and swollen. The thread or fiber takes up too much room. This is the true explanation for swellings, glandular enlargements, etc. Of course, as usual, our ignorant moron Frankenstein doctors aren't taught this. They see swollen glands and give our children a tonsillectomy, cutting out these swollen glands as if nature didn't put those tonsils there for a very good reason. The thick blood or embolus from a deficiency in potassium chloride causes the heart to work harder, as more energy is required to circulate the thickened blood. Biochemistry states that Kali myrrh or potassium chloride is specific for children's diseases, for it has to do with disturbances in the fibrin, and is usually accompanied by exudations through the skin, as in scarlet fever, measles, chickenpox, swollen glands, throat irritation, diphtheria, tonsillitis, mumps, and to the degree in which iron, aka ferrum phosphate, the squaring of the Pisces salt, is deficient, fever will manifest. But what do we mean, the squaring of the Pisces salt? The squaring of the Pisces salt, which is iron, or its mineral name ferrum phosphate, with the Gemini mineral salt potassium chloride, is the Masonic squaring of the circle, or the Christian cardinal points we discussed earlier. But the basis of all the fibrin that makes up our body is Kali myrrh, or the mineral potassium chloride. But there are many different uses for fibrin in the body, so the many fibers are differentiated by the addition of other minerals or inorganic salts combined with them. When these different inorganic, non-living mineral salt building blocks are put together, combined with the protoplasm formed by our brain or cerebrum, they become organic or living material, which merely means put together as bricks with mortar. Not like a bunch of literal stonemasons or free morons building a literal Solomon's temple out of brick and mortar that never actually existed, but Kali, the changing aspect of nature that brings things to life or death. There is definitely no living organic fibrin or tissue to be seen there. Other physical disease expressions coming from a lack of Kali myrrh or potassium chloride besides chickenpox and measles are mumps, smallpox, cancer, gonorrhea, syphilis, pneumonia, embolism, even acne, which is another teenage growth spurt fibrin removal disease, and children's diseases, among dozens of others. What is interesting to note is that out of the 12 mineral tissue salts that make up the body, only 3 of them are named after Kali, and all of them are the only 3 potassium-based minerals out of the 12. We have Gemini, Kali myrrh, chloride of potassium, as we have discussed, which makes up, among other things, all fibers, fibrin, and tissues in the body. And then we have Aries, Kali phos, or potassium phosphate, which makes up our spinal cord, sensory nerves, and cerebrum, which the protoplasm formed by our cerebrum turns inorganic, non-living mineral combinations into living organic compounds. But the third one is Virgo, Kalisulf, or sulfate of potassium, which makes up the vital oils in your body, including your cerebral spinal fluid, or Christos, Christ, or Christmas oil in your cerebrum. Another way to say this allegorically is that God, Gad, Aries, the cerebrum and spinal cord, potassium phosphate, connects to, mixes with, and biochemically impregnates the Virgin Mary, Virgo, sulfate of potassium, who happens to represent the exact same bowels and solar plexus area of the body where the spinal cord meets the sacrum, and begets Jesus, or Christ, the Christos oils of the body that give life. In New Testament allegory, Mary's husband is Joseph, the builder and carpenter, Gemini, the third potassium, chloride of potassium, that builds all fibers and tissues of the body. Joseph is not the real father of Christ because tissue does not make oil, and oil does not need tissues to function. Tissues need oil to function and maintain their elasticity and flexibility. Joseph accepts Mary's son because Joseph needs Mary. Mary doesn't need Joseph. Mummy needs his mommy or mum, Mary, oil.